Mega Evolutions just came out last Friday, and it's the set I've been most excited for in the modern Pokemon TCG. So many new archetypes are coming back with the brand new support print, and we've seen types that were really underutilized for years, like Grass and Fighting, come back to the top of the metagame in the blink of an eye. And with all the Megas comes plenty of brand new ideas, and one of these archetypes to be revived was a not very old one, very recent, that fell out of favor. I got the idea from watching some of my GOAT, Tim Danklin, some of his old videos, while looking at the list of the brand new Mega Pokemon, and I was thinking about archetypes that haven't existed for a while and how to pair them, and one of them was Terapagos Tank, an old terror of Surging Spark Stellar Crown format. Terapagos Tank really fell hard with Journey Together being released, and I wanted to bring it back because it has a brand new partner in crime, and that is the brand new Mega Kangaskhan EX. In my opinion, probably the most underrated of the Mega cards, with a fantastic ability and a great attack, a high pool of HP, and a very, very well supported type in the modern TCG. It was completely set up to be a great card. So with that being said, I decided to make a deck list out of it. This is what I came up with. So with that out of the way, let's get into the deck list finally. First and foremost, we got 2 copies of Mega Kangaskhan EX. This is going to be our main attacker in the deck. As you can see, got this amazing ability, Run Errands. If it's in the active spot, you may draw 2 cards. Excellent card draw here. I know this is starting to become a one-of in a lot of decks. But the attack is also really, really solid. Rapid fire combo, 200 damage, flip a coin until you get the tails. This does 50 more damage for each heads. A lot of times you can actually high roll this. I had a game on live where I hit 450 damage, which was 5 tails in a row? Yes, yeah, 5 tails in a row. Absolutely huge. 300 HP as well on a colorless is not an easy card to knock out. So next up, as our attacking partner, we got 2 copies of Terapagos EX, 230 HP colorless. This is going to be our only Terra in the deck, so it's very important to dig these guys out. Sure, this was the old centerpiece of the Terapagos tank build, which is kind of where we're going here. 2 attacks here, Unified Beatdown for 2 colorless, 30 damage times the amount of your benched Pokemon. Can't use it on your first turn, so no donks. But still really good with Area 0 in play. This is hitting about 240, which isn't bad at all. You know, knock out a bunch of basic EXs. Its second attack, Crown Opal, though, for a Grass, Water, and Lightning, does 180 damage to your opponent's next turn. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic, non-normal type Pokemon. The Crown Opal can win you games, or at least stall them out for a very, very long time. Really effective against Miraidon decks, and a couple other of those big basic ones. So very, very good card. Great partner to have for Kangaskhan. And then immediately we go into 2 copies of Fan Rotom. Of course, great single prize attacker with Assault Landing. 70 damage for 1 attachment is not bad at all. But we're using this for Fan Call. Search your deck on your first turn for 3 colorless Pokemon with 100 HP or less and put them into your hand. Excellent way to get our engine rolling or just search out other things that we need. So speaking of engine, I think the engine here with a Terra deck, pretty obvious. 4 copies of Hoothoot here, 3 of the 70s, 1 of the 80 with Insomnia, just because why not? And then we have 4 copies of Noctowl, which is going to be our main engine for the deck. This is how you combo everything. Jewel Seeker, if you have a Terra in play and you evolve from Hoothoot into Noctowl, you can search your deck for 2 trainer cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand. You can usually get about 2 of these on turn 2. This is how you're going to set up almost everything in here. This on top of Run Errand and some other cards we'll see later in the deck. Really, really great way to see a ton of cards very, very quickly. So you do need a 4 count on that. Then we got 2 copies of Bouffalant here. Going to be using this for the Curly Wall ability. This is half of the tank part. Your basic colorless Pokemon takes 60 less damage if you have 2 or more in play. Cannot stack, so no real point in running 4, but always a great way to put down damage. The attack isn't bad either. 130 for 3 colorless can help in a pinch. Really wouldn't recommend using it though. So then we have a 101 line of Pidgey and Pidgeot EX in here. Quick Search is a insanely powerful ability. Search your deck for any card and put it into your hand. Don't have to reveal it or nothing. That we have to play it in this deck. Like, it fixes so much. It does so much for the deck. The Pidgey in here as well, we are using the 50 HP one. A little less optimal into matchups like Dragapult, but Call for Family definitely does have some uses. Search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon and put them on your bench. You can grab Terapagos with that. You can grab other setup pieces. It's a great engine to have. We run one other line in here, which is a 1/1 Duskull Dusknoir line. There's no Psychic Energy in here, so there's no way for these to attack, but we're using it for Cursed Blast. You can knock Dusknoir out and put 13 damage counters anywhere. Fantastic ability, you know, absolute terror of the format. It's going to really allow us to set up different plays, especially in the late game, to get us some W's. So then we have a one-of copy of Ditto with Transformative Start. We're just going to be using it for the ability. If it's in the active spot, you may discard it. Search your deck for any other card except for another Ditto and put it in the active spot in its place. Great way to find Terapagos turn 1. If you don't have any kind of ball search card or just any other thing you need, maybe you need a Kangaskhan, a Fan Rotom, just whatever Ditto is going to be your guy for it. So we also are running 3 more 1-ups. We got 1 more Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX, 260 HP, colorless basic, so Curly Wall does affect it. We're just going to be using it for a very good late game attacker. 240 for free if your opponent has 5 prize cards, or has taken 5 prize cards. It's fantastic. Definitely really worth it there. Then we got 1 copy of Latias. We're going to be using it for Skyliner, your basic Pokemon in play of no retreat cost. This is going to allow us to pivot around these Kangaskhan's and Terapagos and Ursaluna, because they all have a really high retreat costs, 2 to 3 per. We don't really have any other good way of getting them out of the active, so 1 of Latias, always worth it. And then, of course, as with every deck and format, we have a 1 of Fezandipiti. You can attack with it, actually. Cruel Arrow, 3 colorless. Definitely attackable in this match, or this deck. Really wouldn't recommend it. But we're going to be using that for Flip the Script. If your Pokemon was knocked out last turn, draw 3 cards. So that's it for the Pokemon lineup. It's a very heavy Pokemon lineup at that. I want to say 26 Pokemon, so absolutely huge. But now on to trainers. Going to be playing 3 copies of Nest Ball. Search your deck for a basic Pokemon and put it onto your bench. How we're going to find most of our attackers and everything. You know, there's only a couple cards in here that are not basics, and to account for them, we have 2 copies of Ultra Ball. Discard 2 cards from your hand, search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Actually, I have a Mega Evolutions Reverse Holo of these. Tell me how you guys feel about those. They're okay. They're okay, in my opinion. I think they should have gone back to the X and Y reverse pattern, but that's just me. So we are playing 2 copies of Rare Candy. If you have a basic in play, you can evolve it into a Stage 2 on the item. It's going to be for our Pidgeot and Dusknoir. in order to get them into play. This is also searchable by Noctowl, which is really, really good for setting up multi-evo combos. Then we have 2 copies of Glass Trumpet. This is, I think, one of the most interesting cards in the game, and it's really, really hard to find decks that utilize this well. You can only use it if you have a Terra in play. You choose 2 of your benched Normal type Pokemon and attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to each of them. This is how we're going to be powering up attackers really, really quick, especially after our opponent gets that first knockout. It's such an interesting card. You know, this used to be played in the old Terapagos tank decks. I used to play this in Galvantula EX when I played that for like 3 weeks. So it's a very, very interesting card. Wish it had a little more use cases, but this deck takes great advantage of it. Then we have a couple one-off items. We got 1 copy of Buddy-Buddy Poffin, just a way to search out more Hootoots. You can grab Pidgey or Duskull with this. So just searchable, multiple low health basics. One Earthen Vessel, discard a card from your hand, search your deck for 2 basic energy cards, and put them into your hand. Good energy search. You know, always going to be able to grab that off Noctowl if you don't have a Pidgeot in play and you still need to fish out energy in the deck. 1 copy of Energy Switch. This is really, really vital if you don't have a second attacker on the board. This can get energy moved around from Glass Trumpet, which is going to allow you to set up another attacker really quick. Great card to have in here. Almost want to go up to a second one. Not really sure though. We got 1 copy of Super Rod. Shuffle any combination of Pokemon and basic energy from your discard pile into your deck. Mostly going to be using this for Pokemon. You don't really need it for energy with the Glass Trumpet, but a recovery option is always nice. And then our final item, we got 1 copy of Night Stretcher. Put a basic energy card or Pokemon from your discard pile into your hand. Great, also recovery. Grab something on demand like a Noctowl or Pidgeot if you discarded it early, or just anything like that. So now immediately going into our supporters. 2 copies of Lily's Determinations, the brand new draw supporter from Mega Base. Shuffle your hand into your deck, draw 6 cards. If you have exactly 6 prize cards remaining, draw 8 cards instead. What a draw supporter. This is so insanely busted. It's not even funny. If you have a Kangaskhan inactive and you play one of these early game, you are seeing a 1/6 of your deck in a single turn. Such a great way to combo things, such a great way to get out of bad positions. Searchable with Noctowl. It's just a fantastic card. So then, speaking of draw supporters, we got 2 copies of Iono in here. Of course, shuffle your hand into the bottom of your deck and then draw for each prize card each player is remaining. Great late game disruption, great way to see some cards early game. Absolutely fantastic supporter. So those are only 4 draw supporters. Real low count, you're going to be searching for a lot of these with Noctowl and Pidgeot, but that is absolutely a-okay. Got a 2 copy of Crispin here. Search your deck for 2 basic energy cards of different types. Reveal them. Put one of them in your hand. Attach to another one of your Pokemon. Great energy acceleration in this deck. Great way to set up attackers very early game. We also have 2 copies of Boss's Orders. Switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot. Great way to close out games. You're gonna be hitting through stuff that you don't want to hit through, and this is how you're gonna do it. So we got 1 copy of Hilda, if it would focus. Search your deck for an evolution Pokemon and energy card, reveal them, and put them into your hand. Great way to find a Noctowl or a Pidgeot, if need be even a Dusknoir. But we're mostly going to be using it for its energy search capability, which you'll see later. This combos really nicely with Noctowl. It's going to allow us to get our A spec out, which you will see very soon. And then finally, we got 1 copy of Briar. You can only use this card if your opponent has exactly 2 prize cards remaining. If your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out, by an attack from your Terra Pokemon, take one more prize card. Great way. You can combo this crazy with Dusknoir to allow Terapagos to take a 3 prize or even 4 prize knockout with the Megas in format now. Very late game, fantastic way to make a comeback and close out games. So we got 2 stadiums in here, 2 copies of Air 0 Underdepths. You have a Terra Pokemon in play, you can have up to 8 Pokemon on your bench. Fantastic stadium, really allows us to combo further and further as we get later and later into the game. More Noctowl, set up Dusknoir, late game attackers, Pidgeot, whatever you need, Area 0 will find it for you. Now onto our tools, we have 2 Bravery Charm. Really helps with the tank aspect of this deck. Basic Pokemon it's attached to gets plus 50 HP. Attach it to Terapagos, that is 280. Attach it to Mega Kangaskhan, that's 350. Combine that with the 2 Bouffalant here. If you get those out, you have a Mega Kangaskhan with 410 HP, essentially, to take a one-hit knock on, which is a ludicrous amount for anyone to try and hit, maybe except Dango. But we got one copy of Air Balloon. Retreat cost this Pokemon is attached to is 2 less. Just a great one of inclusion here. Get a Noctowl out of the active if it's trapped. Mostly for Noctowl. This has free retreat. Everything else can really be affected by Latias, but there's situations where you're gonna need that. So having one always really helps. Now onto our energy count. Our A spec for the deck is gonna be Legacy Energy. If the Pokemon this card is attached to is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, they take 1 fewer prize cards. It also is a Rainbow Energy. Not like that really matters, we're playing mostly colorless. But this is going to mean that your opponent is going to have to take 3 knockouts in a game no matter what. You can attach this to a second Kangaskhan if need be, and all of a sudden that Kangaskhan is only worth 2 prizes. So your opponent would have to do a 3-2-2 line if you manage to feed them both Kangaskhan and the Terapagos. It's a great inclusion. The other one you could really go for here is Prime Catcher if you want more gust options, but I don't think it's as worth it as the Legacy Energy. So hard for your opponent to fight through there. So great inclusion. Finally, for the rest of our energy count, we're going to be running 2 Water, 2 Lightning, and 2 Grass. So all of these doesn't really matter, you know, mostly just different types of power up. Crispin, Glass Trumpet can attach to anything, can be used for any of your attackers here. But this is the energy requirement for Terapagos' second attack, which does come into play a lot. So, you know, great to have. And this is it. This is the whole list. With that finalized list there, what's possible changes you can make to the list? I think the most cuttable cards are definitely Buddy-Buddy Poffin and maybe even Ditto. You usually have a very good time finding all the pieces that you need, so both of them can go. Briar as well. Briar could be exchanged out for one of the new Acerol's Mischief cards, preventing your opponent's Pokemon EX from attacking a certain Pokemon. You can get yourself into position to win games with that. So yeah, any other changes you want to make to it, be my guest. You know, you could always experiment around. There's 1,010,000 different ways to play this deck. Tell me what changes you'd make in the comments. Anything that you would add, get rid of, why you do it. Yeah, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps growing the channel. I appreciate it. Hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye.